Hello, welcome back again. This is the third episode of the podcast From Employee to Entrepreneur, and my name is Petra Lohmeyer. And again, this is a podcast for people who either are employees and want to become entrepreneurs and want to avoid all these little issues that I had, or it can be also for people who want to train entrepreneurs. Because it used to be that people who would train entrepreneurs would train entrepreneurs who were already entrepreneurial and already had this entrepreneurial gene. But in future, there may be quite a few employees who have been employees for maybe 20 years who want to become entrepreneurs, partly because they may have to, because there is going to be a lot of job losses due to digitization, globalization, and automation, and they may have no other choice. Or it could very well be that some people, after they retire at 50 or 55, when they are financially free, they actually want to go into what their passion was originally when they first started, and they may feel that they've sold out. And now they're looking to get into that field, but there's no vehicle there. So they have to do this themselves. And for them, this is also. So last time we covered live events and all these things that went well or not so well for me doing the first live events. And this time, what I wanted to do, I wanted to look into website and business cards and lead magnets and these kinds of things, because that is the next thing I did. And of course, I did this because that's what everybody tells you have to have, right? Everybody tells you have to have business cards, you have to have a website. So business cards isn't that difficult. You can get them online. And, I kind of looked at different designs and stuff. And after a while, I found the right ones. And then I looked into the website. Now, there are different options that you have there. You can go and get a website designer and then spend several thousand dollars or pounds or euros on a website, or you can go out and find one of these services where you can basically get a website for like 30 quid, right? I thought, okay, I don't really know what to put on this website yet. So I wanted to have something where I had the control over it. And that turned out to be a very, very good idea for me, at least, because I really didn't know yet what I wanted to do. I changed it a gazillion times. It would have cost me so much money if I had gone to a web designer, and turned out I would have done it all for nothing. But let me get to that. So what was my outcome with the website? My outcome was to have a website, because everybody tells you have to have a website and otherwise you don't look professional. So I wanted to have a website. But beyond that, it was also that I wanted to add value for free as well. You do value added marketing. By then I had actually found out what these value added marketing was. And I thought, maybe I can add some value already, and then people will start trusting me, and then they will buy from me, right? And on that website, I wanted to sell coaching, different types of coaching, because I had all these wonderful tools now since I had done this coaching course. I wanted to sell a live course on change management. At that point, I hadn't actually looked into this whole win-win situations between humans and the environment yet. I believed in it privately, but I didn't know that this is what I would focus on. And I wanted to maybe also sell in-house courses for businesses. So that was what I wanted to do. So what I did was, with I spent months and months developing material for this website and designing it and trying and testing things out, but I didn't test them out on my clients. I just tested them out on me. I also designed lead magnets. So lead magnets are these kinds of things that that you find online, where people say, if you click on here and give me your email address, then we will send you something for free, say a book for free, or this PDF for free, or a video for free that tells you the 3 things that you absolutely have to know. So these are lead magnets, right? And I created several of these. And then for traffic, I thought, okay, I have to find out how to bring people to this. So I built out my Facebook audience. So I had, I think, about 500 initially when I started out, and I built it out to 4,000 plus people on my Facebook audience, thinking that marketing is at its best, of course, something that attracts your ideal client and repels the ones who would not be your ideal client. So I thought, okay, if people come to my website, they will be my ideal clients because they will like the content that I post on there. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so what was my outcome with all of this? Well, for starters, the whole website thing, I didn't realize yet at the time, although people had told me this, I think I was at Business Mastery and stuff, and all this stuff is explained there, but because I was so green, it kind of went over my head. And I didn't realize that I hadn't actually figured out who my ideal client was and who my ideal client was not, which means I was kind of just pitching to the world. I was just explaining things about, what coaching is and what I've done. And because that's kind of what I saw other people do. They said, oh, I've done all these wonderful things, and that's why you have to come and buy stuff from me. So I thought, okay, I also have to do all these wonderful things. And of course, I got comments afterwards, you shouldn't always be talking about you. But that's what they did, so I thought, okay, I'll have to try that too. Didn't work out, but I spent months and months and months on trying to refine this material. But the whole point about testing is you have to test it on clients, and I didn't realize that yet. That's what marketeers do with their ads. They do split testing, that they send ads out with, different hooks and different, like the first sentence, different pictures, and they test all these things on their clients, because even experienced marketeers cannot tell necessarily what works and what doesn't work. And I thought, once you figured all out what the audience is like, what works. Doesn't work that way. So this is the first thing I didn't understand, and I spent months on this website. Turns out then that the whole concept of a website is actually flawed. It is what people used to do, but it's basically um, detracting the attention of the audience, because it's like a brochure, right? You've got all these different links where you can click on, all these different things that the company does, all these things that it offers, and people go around and then they click somewhere else and they go. It doesn't work. What works today, or at least a while ago, is funnels. And funnels means you come on one site, and then you go to one call to action, which is basically click here and buy my book, for example, and then you click on the book, and then you get an upsell on there, which says, okay, if you take advantage of this offer just now, then you can also get this with so and so much off. So you click on that offer as well, or you have the option not to click on it. Then you give your credit card information. The book is being sold, and then at the end is, oh, by the way, and we also have this. Right, so you're basically taken by the hand, like if there was a sales representative in a store, and you would go into a store, sales representative would first ask you, what do you want? And you would explain it to them, and that is basically what draws you in with the ad. Then you take a look at this, and then he will also show you other things and upsell to you. And that is basically how this funnel works. I didn't understand this at the time, so I spent a lot of time on a website that, didn't really work. Thank God I didn't pay a lot of money for somebody else to do this. Now, there's also these different other things about the website, like SEO optimization, so that if in Google somebody searches for your website, that it actually comes up pretty far up in the search results. And I came across this company that told me, yeah, for starters, we're going to build this wonderful website for you for $2,000, and then we are going to optimize the SEO so that people come to you, because if you use the website builder that I had used, you will never get to the top. You will always be down the 1,000 or whatever, and people won't find you. Well, it turns out I linked my website to my website that I had on IMDb, because I used to be an actress, and it had the same name. And turns out if I put my name in now, I come up second or third, maybe even first. I just have to filter out that footballer. But, you can get there. So it is a little bit of a Shark Tank there as well, to realize, what people are selling you. I'm sure that a lot of these services are very good, and a lot of these services are worth for other businesses. But for me at the time, it would not have been worth it. The thing is, I didn't waste a lot of time, a lot of money. I just wasted literally months on this. What I would now recommend to anybody who wants to do this is a company called ClickFunnels. Not necessarily to start with to build your website, because it is a rather expensive one. But if you take a look at all the people, at least in my field, if you take a look at their websites, you see they're all ClickFunnels websites, and they all have kind of the same structure. It's a well-built thing, and what's really good about it is there's also a thing called affiliate marketing, which we will get to later, which you can set up over this website. But even if you don't buy these services, and I'm going to provide you a link later, which is an affiliate link, and I'm going to disclose that. I do get, some money if you buy something from them over that link. But if you go on that link, I will. I'm not sure what I'm going to give you. I'll decide later after this video. There are a whole lot of different things that you can buy on the front end, which is like books that are really good, like Traffic Secrets, for example. That is the book that I should have read 3 years ago. Of course, it was only just written, but this is one of the things that I would really recommend that you read, that you take a look at. There's also one about writing copy, for example, and there's a lot of free training about how to do online marketing. I think it's like 10 hours of free training if you sign up for certain things. There's a 14-day trial for ClickFunnels as well. So that is what I would recommend now. So that was my website experience. And then I came to the lead magnets and I created different PDFs. These lead magnets are, as I said, it's like these PDFs that you get 3 things that you absolutely need to know. And I created one for my business. I created a personal one. I created a video and all kinds of different things. And the outcome was supposed to be to get people on the list. Now that was actually a good idea at the time. I didn't realize how good an idea it was because that list is basically your business. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize how important that was, because that is also something that people tell you later is if for every person on that list, for every email on that list, it's basically worth like £1 or something or $1. So I wanted to do that. But you know what, there was no uptake. And I didn't realize why, because I thought, I was really providing value. I was really providing some things that were, valuable to me that I should have known earlier in my career and didn't. And I was providing this to people. I didn't understand why nobody was interested. Nobody clicked on it. I, put it on LinkedIn. I put it on Facebook and nothing happened. So what I didn't realize also when I built out my audience for Facebook, so yeah, see, I had these 4,000 people, right? I thought if I have 4,000 people and I put something into my storyline, then those 4,000 people will also see that in their storyline. And I thought that all those 4,000 people that are on there are obviously on there because they're interested in me and what I have to offer and what I have to say. And so this is really going to work out, right? Not really. I mean, for starters, they weren't interested in me at all. They were interested in selling me stuff. That's why they signed up to my Facebook site, right? And they were selling me all kinds of different things, including porn, including trying to date me. I mean, I did a little bit of a stint of DMing afterwards, which is something that Gary Vee says you should DM people, and a lot of other people say that as well. And it may work for them, but all I got was basically, well, porn back, or people asking me out on a date, or people trying to sell me something. So that for starters didn't work. So I wasn't attracting just the perfect clients for me and repelling those that I didn't want. I just got everything. And at some point, because I got so many friend requests, I just accepted everything, which was a big mistake, because I also got some not so good customers in there, and I had to go through literally weeks of deleting stuff later, and that cost me quite a lot of time as well. What I also didn't realize, there's a thing called a Facebook algorithm. And people had told me that over the last few years, they always, mentioned this Facebook algorithm and that you have to understand the Facebook algorithm and that it changes constantly. But I didn't really know what that meant. Well, what it means, what I just read in one of those books, in I think it was in Traffic Secrets, was if you do certain things that Facebook doesn't like, they won't show your stuff to anyone. Which means I thought that I was advertising to like 4,000 people, and I thought I was giving them such great value and something that is so, could be so good for their lives, and nobody saw it. And I thought it was my copy. I thought it was, maybe my videos that they are all bad and I was trying to refine them. Turns out nobody ever saw them. You know how I found out? Because I went on an affiliate launch later, which is also going to be in a different podcast, where I got the materials from the top people in the world in marketing. I got all the copy from them. I got all the videos from them. I got the launch schedule from them. I followed everything to a T, and nobody bought anything. So it wasn't me. It was literally, the way to get the audience. So that Facebook algorithm apparently changes constantly as well. And there are ways around it, and there's people who teach you this stuff. And I may in podcasts later I may mention some of this, but it can it kind of derailed everything that I did in the beginning, certainly in the first year, because I thought I was showing stuff to people which they didn't see, right? And this Facebook algorithm also changes constantly because they want you to buy ads. But now I did try to buy ads at one point as well, and not just for my recent book, but also for a book that I wrote 15 years ago, which had nothing to do with politics, my ex-employer or anything, but was a book about personal development. And I got 500,000 impressions, impressions on this Facebook ads. And I thought that meant 500,000 people have seen my book, but nobody bought it. I mean, the copy can't be that bad that not a single soul buys it. So what I really would recommend to you, I mean, don't take it from me necessarily, take it from the experts who also say, a lot of the experts that I, heard lately tell that as well. Unless you already have a business that makes money, don't start putting money into ads, because there's so many things that you really have to master, and you have to compete with the best people in the world, because especially right now they're giving stuff away for free, and they're the best in the world in terms of copy. Their funnel is working, their funnel is converting, meaning that if somebody comes into their funnel, a certain percentage is actually buying, which means their funnel, the copy, the stuff that they write in there must look good and must be compelling for people to buy. If you don't master all that stuff yet, you put a lot of money into these ads, and nobody's going to buy if your funnel doesn't work. Or you put a lot of money in the ads, and the ads don't work because you don't understand how to construct the ads yet. So it is really something where you can sink a lot of money into without ever getting anything out of it. So also, I would try to master one platform first. There's also something that they say now, and not try to master all the platforms like Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and all at the same time, right? Now, um, what else did I do? So I also, after I had my website and after my business cards, what I also did is I went door to door, believe it or not, because I thought, okay, I really have to get the selling thing going. I have to do something one to one. And I thought I had done so much. I had spent months of effort, and I went out and I went to doctors and I wanted to sell them this coaching, that I would help people to improve their health, because that is something that I was focusing on with my first coaching client at the time. And he had lost weight, and he said he was happy. So I thought I can do this for other people as well, and maybe I can help some people not get heart attacks. And that was something that my coaching course also recommended. So I went out to these doctors and nothing. And luckily, somebody told me at the time that you have to measure things, otherwise you cannot see whether they work or not. So I measured things. I had this Excel spreadsheet, saying, okay, I went to so and so, this was the result, this was the follow up, and so on and so forth. So I thought I had done so much. I looked at the sheet afterwards. I had gone to 9 doctors, and all I had done was I had given the secretary or the receptionist my business card. That was my big marketing effort. But I had the feeling that I had done so much. And you know why? I had actually done a hell of a lot. What I had done is I spent months trying to convince myself that I had to go out and wrangling with myself, within myself, that because I had this block about selling. I had this block about, I was so afraid of selling. I was trying to find a way to get myself there that I could be convincing, because if I couldn't, believe in it myself, then they wouldn't believe in it. And, and then I imagined it. And it was 99% of the effort was trying to get me to go out of the door. And then 1% of the effort was actually going to these doctors. And I didn't realize it. That is the crazy thing, until I looked at this Excel spreadsheet and I thought, okay, 9 doctors, it's really not that much, is it? Especially if you just give it to the receptionist, who probably doesn't even pass it on. So what I got out of that So the good that came out of all these things, all these kind of that looked like wasted efforts is, for starters, I realized I had a major psychological block to selling. And I realized I had to do something about this. And there are different courses that you can take and different approaches that you can take to it. First, you have to realize why it is, and a lot of times it is something that you were told in childhood. That your parents or your environment just gave you this idea that selling is such a bad thing, and they are only focused on the bad things. Used car salesmen who screw everybody over, and people coming to your door who want to sell you stuff and trying to push into the door and stuff. And that is all that you have in your head, and you don't realize that all the good stuff that you have in your life, like your iPhone if you have one, or whatever other phone you have, or if you go to a show that's really cool, or you see a TV show that's really cool, all of that stuff you wouldn't know about unless somebody had done some really good marketing. Because even if the show was absolutely great, nobody would know about it without good marketing, because otherwise, if somebody else markets better, people will go to that show even if it is worse, because they don't know about that show, right? So all the stuff that's good in your life that you bought, or that you in some way or form is something that is sold to you, was marketed to you, including the stuff that you really really like. And I didn't realize that you don't actually focus on that's also selling, that's also marketing. And one of the things that finally got me over the edge, after I identified some of the blocks that were there and got rid of them, was that Steve Graziosi, who does a lot in the, or most of the KBB course that was just recently sold, said you really do people a disservice if you don't sell, if you have something good to sell, that's something that could help people, something that is valuable, and you don't market it, because if you build it, they don't come. And they don't. I can tell you, they don't. If you're not good at marketing and selling, it sits on the internet forever and nobody's ever going to show up. And that is a real shame if you have a real valuable product. So that was the first thing that took me quite a while to get around, and quite a while to get aware of, right? The other thing is, during all these writing sessions that I did, it was basically practicing writing copy. And it made it clear in my own mind what I actually had to sell, what actually was valuable about all the knowledge that I had amassed in the last few years and the last decade or two, right? It also became clearer to me, not to totally clear at that point yet, but it came clearer to me who I wanted my audience to be and who my audience probably wasn't, right? And also a lot of the material that I used at the time, and that is not necessarily visible on the website anymore, that I've parked somewhere and made it invisible, I can still use it. It's not bad material. I can use it to, you know, create lead magnets in future or to help people with it, but I don't necessarily put that on the website. So it's a lot of content creation that was there that is helpful, but not necessary for the website. I also got a lot of practice producing videos, and some of the first ones are horrible, and I realized what didn't work there. I got used to, as I said, writing sales copy. Started understanding how online traffic doesn't work, at least, not necessarily how it does work, but how it doesn't work, which is also very valuable. So I can't say that it was necessarily a very rewarding experience, but some of the writing was actually quite fun. And some of the stuff that I've figured out was actually really good, because I realized how much value I actually have, how many things I've actually learned. And just putting them down now is a really good thing, because in 10, 20 years, I may not remember anymore, because I'm going into a completely different industry now. I'm doing completely different things. And then your personality changes kind of a little bit. And I don't know if you've had this before, but if you are in a different mood, if you are in a different mindset, you can sometimes not even remember anymore what you remember, what you knew when you were in a different mindset, when you were in a different job. And then if you go back into the job, you think, oh yeah, that's what I did, that's what I did, that's what I did, right? So I have a record now for myself of all the things that I thought at that point were really working and were really valuable, which means I can pass them on, and I can pass them on to other clients, and I can refresh them. So it was, some good things came out of it, but be aware of this. Take a look at funnels first. Be aware of traffic again. And as I said, I'm going to put a link at the end of this video to the ClickFunnels website, and you don't have to buy anything, but you know, a couple of the books are really, really valuable. I think I have bought them myself, and there's a lot of free training on there. I think you fall in love with that. It was one of the things that I fell into by accident, because at the time I couldn't afford buying the course that I wanted to buy. So I was so frustrated that they mentioned ClickFunnels at the time, and I thought, oh, fine, I'm just going to do ClickFunnels. I'm doing anything, you know, that's free on there. And turned out there was so much free. And he's really, really good at explaining stuff. So this is the episode for today. And next time we will come to what I did next. And please do subscribe if you think this is valuable to you, and also tell your family and friends. And look forward to seeing you next time again. Bye.